Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. It's the Wonder Boy versus the Extraterrestrial, otherwise known as Luka Doncic versus Victor Wembanyama. You know, these are two of the biggest international prospects in NBA history. I mean, they both came into the league at just 19 years of age, and prior to that, they were both champions and MVPs in pro leagues back in Europe as teenagers. Well, they're now pitted up against each other in their first ever matchup, and what exactly happened? What does it mean? And more importantly, who's better? So, what's hilarious about this matchup was, prior to the game, a Spurs fan actually found that the Dallas Mavericks were staying on his floor at a hotel, and he saw scouting reports under each and every door. Like any other curious man, he went to have a look. And in these scouting reports, it was listed that Jeremy Sohan is prone to turnovers, that Devin Vassell is a laser from distance, that Johnson is a capable shooter but loves to drive more, that Wembanyama's weakness is physicality, and that Zach Collins is an elephant. Wouldn't that make you furious if your opponents had on their scouting reports that you were an elephant? Well, funny enough, on the Mavericks' first possession of the game, Kyrie switched onto Zach Collins, the elephant, with a fake to the right and a dribble to the left. Kyrie proved that the scouting report had been spot on. Zach was beat off the dribble. Unfortunately for Uncle Drew, however, Victor Wembanyama was in the nearby vicinity and his 8-foot wingspan blocked his shot. Needless to say, Kyrie was not expecting that. You know, what makes this block hilarious is the fact that Kyrie just finished a training session where he was practicing for Wemby by having a trainer use artificial lengths to resemble the 19-year-old phenom's reach. Anyway, not too long after that was the first time ever that Luka had to guard the Spurs' future superstar. You see, as Victor brought the ball up in transition, he stopped at like 30 feet away from the basket and attempted a three as if he was Steph Curry or something. Ain't that like the craziest thing you'll ever see in the NBA? For someone 7'4" to run in transition with the ball and pull up from 30 feet? The NBA has truly gone crazy. Look at Luka's contest of the shot there. Even standing at 6'7", forget about blocking the shot. There was no way that was even going to affect the shot. Wemby missed that three, but imagine he starts hitting them accurately. Sheesh, guys. Actually, there's no need to imagine because of what came next. In this play here, Wembanyama set the pick for Kyrie, then both defenders went with the ball handler. Wemby received the ball up top and shot a practice three. Ladies and gentlemen, this type of play here is going to be available for Wembanyama against 99% of defenses in the league. He's going to get this shot several times every single game. I mean, the only players that I presume would be able to make that block or affect it in any way would be like Giannis or Chet Holmgren. So once the Frenchman starts hitting these at a high clip of the upper 30s or perhaps even 40s, it's going to be game over. Anyway, Wembanyama hits his next triple as well, and guess what? By the end of the first quarter, this young Spurs team, which was literally dead last in the standings last season, had scored 43 points against Luka and the Mavericks, a team that had just gone to the Western Conference Finals just 2 short years ago. And speaking of Luka, this play here is the first time ever that Wembanyama had to guard the Slovenian superstar. Knowing Luka, he probably wanted to fry him a bit to create a highlight reel, and what better highlight reel than a one-dribble jab step-back three, right? Well, check that out. Wembanyama almost blocked that. I bet he wishes he was like 7'8" or something. All jokes aside, in a couple of years, as he gets a bit more athletic and quick, it's going to be scary how good defensively he could get. Moving on here, the next time Wembanyama had to guard Luka, Luka used his magic and actually zipped the ball over his head to a teammate who just laid it in. From here on out, Wembanyama's inexperience showed as he committed silly foul after silly foul, which got him sent to the bench. Wembanyama didn't like these calls one bit. You can clearly see him frustrated by these, saying, "That was bull," as he was running down the court. For the better part of 48 minutes, because of foul trouble, Wembanyama's debut ended up with him sitting on the bench to watch Luka's greatness. And my goodness, guys, was Luka great or what? 33 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists was what Luka unleashed on Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. He was firing on all cylinders. This was probably the first time Wembanyama had to go up against true greatness on an NBA level. Like, I know he got the better of Steph Curry and the Warriors during the preseason, but there's a big difference between the preseason and the actual thing. Or is there? In the fourth quarter, with about 7 minutes left in the game, Wembanyama finally came back into the game, and for the first time since the first quarter, the building was electric and the crowd was up on their feet. An alley-oop, a 25-foot three-pointer, another dunk, then check this play out. Here's Wembanyama on the perimeter. After setting the screen, he circles around a group of bodies, eventually getting free before catching the ball and shooting a 12-jumper. That's literally Steph Curry-esque, and just like that, he scored 9 quick points and the game was tied at 115 apiece. Unfortunately for Wemby and Spurs fans, however, Luka was about to deliver another one of his Luka specials to spoil the night. With about 30 seconds left on the clock, Luka had the ball in his hands. With Vassell as his defender, he drove right before stepping back to the perimeter. Now, Victor was the only help defender in this play, but the game-winning dagger was shot right in front of Wembanyama's face. I can't believe Luka pulled this off. What a guy. Anyway, as for Wemby, although this is only one game out of the hundreds that he'll eventually play, this will likely be forever ingrained into his memory as how he started off his NBA career. A cold-blooded defeat at the hands of Luka Doncic. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, right? When the final buzzer sounded, Wembanyama recorded just 15 points and 5 rebounds, but on 6 of 9 shooting from the floor and 3 of 5 from distance. That's very efficient, and what was clear from this game is the Spurs are exponentially better when he's on the floor. Whether it's defense or offense, the truth of the matter is, Victor Wembanyama, even as a rookie, already makes the Spurs a contender for one of the 8 playoff spots. If there's anything that Luka taught him on his debut, it's that he has to learn how to stay on the floor. He can't do anything if he's on the bench, and in fact, it was during those moments sitting on the sidelines that had cost his team. But anyway, y'all want to know what I observed from Victor after the game? The man was pissed. After the final buzzer had sounded and basketball was over, Wembanyama quickly left the court and went back to the locker room without a word to anybody. Some may say that's bad sportsmanship, but I see that Mamba mentality. He ain't here to make friends, he's here to make history. There are tons of skilled players in the league. There are tons of players who have the size and frame to be great NBA players. But what's lacking is that competitive spirit, and Victor looks like he has that in spades. I'm going to knock on wood here, but the future has never been brighter for the Spurs.